Hello, friend, and welcome to my channel. It feels really weird saying that, but I am back for now. So anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the snow globe, which is a bee quip that people kind of ignore. It's kind of irrelevant and it's kind of bad at first look, but I've done some digging and standing in dandelion field for way longer than I should, and I learned some stuff and I figured I would just talk about it. And this is all theoretic stuff, hypothesizing. um, I'm not blue, obviously, so I don't know if this works, but I'm just going to be talking about what I found, and hopefully you'll learn something. So anyway, the Snow Globe Bee Clip gives whatever bee you equip it to the Snow Globe Shake ability, which basically gives 20 seconds of cool breeze to every player in the server. This is the buff that you get when you use a snowflake, so yeah. This buff gives times 1.25 capacity and plus 10% convert rate at Hive. It also gives some other stuff too, but that's kind of irrelevant for blue hives and what I'm going to be talking about, so yeah. If several players activate this ability at the same time, unlike most abilities which would just refresh the duration, because it's Cool Breeze, it actually extends it. So it doesn't matter if multiple people activate this ability at the same time, because each activation basically makes it work the same way. Okay, so let's get into it. So at 128% B ability rate, the bee creates the token around every 5.5 minutes. It can be less and it can be more, but it's roughly every 5.5 minutes. B ability rate can go up to 132% though, assuming you have a max Supreme Star Amulet and Motivating Nectar. And this is also excluding the B ability rate mutations, which, if you didn't know, apply as a separate multiplier and aren't added to the main one. So they're actually better than other sources. But anyway, I'm just using mine 128%. I think that's more realistic, and not everyone has a maxed out B ability rate. I certainly don't. Either way, these are super close numbers, and it's not gonna change things too much, I don't think. So yeah. Anyway, what this means is that any one player can create 40 seconds of Cool Breeze every 5.5 minutes. That is because you can equip 2 to your bees. So yeah, if you multiply this by 6, then that means on average, a full server of people with 2 snow globes with this high bee ability rate will get 240 seconds every 330 seconds. That is around 70% of the time. A little over, but I'll round down to be nice and fair. So around 70% of the time, every player on the server will have times 1.25 capacity and plus 10% convert rate at Hive. That averages an overall times 1.175 capacity buff and plus 7% convert rate at Hive buff. Obviously, these numbers aren't exact and it really depends on just when the ability activates, but that's an overall averaged out. That is what you get with a full server of people who are macroing with this ability activated. So that is absolutely huge for blue hives because they are literally built on capacity and converting at the hive. That is how they get their honey. They have to have capacity for big balloons and they have to have high convert rate so they can convert balloons quickly. That's the whole point of blue. That's how blue works. So, and that is only using 2 B-Quip slots each, which I think is reasonable. I think 2 B-Quip slots for that giant capacity buff and convert rate at Hive buff is pretty good. That is definitely comparable to most B-Quips, if not better. So yeah. Anyway, there are some problems with this. Number one, you need a full server. If you have less players, then you have less Cool Breeze. This is kind of obvious, but even with a full server, you're not going to have it all the time. So if you have even less, that is just, you're really pushing it because with less people, each individual snow globe is less impactful, if that makes sense, when you really look at it. So you really need a full server for this to work. Number two, I am a small creator and people don't know who I am. So there's absolutely no way to get all blue hives to pitch in and cooperate for the greater good. And some people will straight up not care or listen or deny when they're told this, and whatever, because it's not meta, so obviously people aren't going to listen if these high level blue people aren't telling them to. But just because it's not meta doesn't mean you can't do it or try it out. But anyway, number 3 is a real world thing that can apply to it. It's called the free rider problem. It's usually an economics thing, but it really does apply here. So basically, people could leech off your contributions without actually contributing themselves, and instead use those 2 B-Quip slots to use B-Quips that only affect them. if that makes any sense. So they can just like leech off it and be kind of selfish, and that hurts everyone, but they ultimately benefit. And so that can create like unfairness. Like, why would I equip it if you're only gonna steal it basically, and then like no one uses it? It's just a thing with like psychology, I guess. I don't know. I'm not that smart, but um, basically, there's like no way for this to actually become ever like ultimately public meta. Like that's not ever gonna happen. But I'm not blue and I don't have friends who play this game, so it's impossible for me to test this out. But if you are watching this and you happen to be a Blue Hive who regularly macros with 5 other Blue Hive friends, please try this out just for like one night or like one week and let me know how accurate this is. Like, let me know if you actually start making more or if you make less or like what happens. I'm genuinely so curious. I just like this bee equip has been around for so long and people just like don't care about it, and I think it's actually pretty insane. So yeah. Also, side note, as you can see here, Snowglobe Shake can get duplicated, which means that theoretically, it is possible to build up Cool Breeze and even max it out when it's not Beesmas. Now, this would need like a lot of luck and a lot of commitment and a lot of time, but it would be really neat to see like the group who could like max it out first. I don't even know like the odds of that happening. I don't know the chances and how that works. But basically that means instead of 40 seconds every 5.5 minutes, it would be 80 seconds, assuming you can get it duplicated, or just in general more. And if you're gaining more as a server than you're losing, then you're obviously gonna get more. Anyway, that's like not even really relevant, but I just thought I would mention it because I think it's pretty cool to like think about. But that's all for this video. So I hope you learned something. I hope you try something out, and I hope you maybe reconsider this B clip with some other people because I think it's actually pretty interesting and not as terrible as the community kind of describes it. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!